Good evening, everyone. I'm Archit Seshadri. Thanks so much for tuning in. You are watching Gravitas. Tonight, the big discussion will focus on women's safety. This after an actress in the South Indian state of Kerala is allegedly sexually assaulted by her own staff, heading the problem of women's safety all around India. Now, South Indian states, for the most part, were believed to be insulated from the kind of brazen violence that we've seen all around the country. But of course, that does not seem to be the case anymore. Over the past decade, Kerala's rate of crimes against women has doubled. In Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, things are also not a whole lot better. The total sexual offenses against women in Andhra Pradesh last year a reported 8,049 cases, while more than 6,000 women were molested, sexually violated in Telangana. In Karnataka's capital of Bengaluru, it is the third least safe city in India. So what's going on? Has the bubble burst? Is the south of India no longer safe, no longer the haven that many Indian and foreign women always imagined it to be? Now, take a look at this discussion tonight. We have a lot of guests and panelists to talk about the dramatic deterioration happening in South India. We have in the studio Rahul Ishwar, Trivandrum-based activist and well-known television commentator right here in Delhi. We also have Kirti Jaykumar, a women's rights activist from Chennai via Skype. Kirti was also selected to be part of the former U.S. First Lady Michelle Obama's United States of Women Summit in Washington, D.C. last year. Also, we have Hema Shankar, a well-known actress in the Malayali cinema industry. And we have Dr. Sashi Tharoor, the Congress MP from Trivandrum, who will all discuss this case from Kerala. Thank you guys again for joining us with this discussion. Firstly, let's now go to Mr. Rahul Ishwar joining us here in the studio. Rahul, we appreciate your time. Quite a very significant, situation that people are dealing with, and especially in the South, in the film fraternity. At this point, what do we talk about, women's safety, especially in Kerala?
Yes, Archit, right. Like you rightly mentioned, Kerala and South India has been a very matrilineal kind of a society where women place was very higher. And compared to other parts of India, there were no sati, there were no atrocities of women. Comparatively, women had a better place in South Indian society and they were considered more safe. But the tragic incidents in Bengaluru last year and the following years, the incident regarding one particular actress who is a good friend of mine that happened 2 days before, has really shaken us. We should outrightly condemn it. And as an activist, there is one quick step solution that I can offer. When we can have speed breaking cameras all over the road, why can't we have CCTVs? She was attacked in national highway. It is a shocking thing. So why can't we have more CCTVs? We can have more something like fast track courts, as PM of India suggested. We need to start with value education for boys. These are the good steps that we should think about, and I'm very happy that a global media like this is highlighting this issue so that we can arrive at some kind of solution and have a way to look forward to.
All right, we'll come back to you in just a moment, Rahul. Let's now go over to Kirti, who's also joining us on this discussion. Kirti, thank you again for your time. Let's talk about safety when it comes to women. In the South, for the most part, it seemed like the southern part of India was protected or sheltered, but especially with such a high-profile case like this, what happened in Bengaluru not too long ago, and then this with the actress, maybe not so. Why do we attribute this kind of a situation happening now, even in the southern part of India?
I think I'd like to start by saying that it's not something new. It's not that sexual violence has not happened in the south of India. The difference has been that there's been some sort of a conservative cultural silence around speaking out about these issues. I come from South India. I've grown up in South India. I've been, as a child, I've survived all kinds of sexual abuse. As a teenager, I was molested on the streets. As a young adult, I was molested when I went in public transport. And this is not just my story in isolation. There are many young women like this who will testify to the same thing. I think the fact remains that we're now at the cusp of a dialogue-driven revolution because of social media, where we now have control and power over our voices. We're being able to actually speak out about these things. And we also come from a certain cultural space where speaking about these things has been considered taboo even up until recently. So I wouldn't say that it's just about the number of incidents on the rise. I think it's just more number of people speaking about it, and so the attention has been focused on these issues now. I would also like to draw attention to the fact that a lot of South Indian cinema, as is perhaps the case even in Bollywood, tend to normalize the objectification of women and pass off stalking and harassment as romance. When you have that kind of a cultural backdrop, many young women do not find this space to really speak about these atrocities because they're either put down to being characterless on part of the woman or they're put down to being a case of romance on part of the men.
Kirti, I also want to, staying with you with regards to this, the four southern states, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and Kerala. What about Tamil Nadu specifically? We talked about some of the other states. Why is Tamil Nadu specifically not seen as much of violence against women? Or do we just think that those numbers are just not reported in Tamil Nadu as opposed to some of the other states? This specific incident with the actress happening in Kerala.
I think I'll have to say that it's just the number of incidents not being reported. If you looked at the news last year, there were 6 to 8 girls who were stalked and killed for rejecting the advances of men in their lives. That's violence, and that's just few instances that have been reported and spoken about by the media. Many instances, families tend to either expect the girls to not speak about these things, or sometimes the girls themselves don't speak up. I work extensively with the young people, both in the rural and in the urban setting through workshops. And one of the things that comes up among the young men is that they don't feel they're doing anything wrong. They think they're just emulating what they see on screen. And the young women think that it's just attention that they're getting, or sometimes it's just going to bring disrepute to their family if they speak out.
Let me now go back to Rahul with regards to this. Rahul, with specifically to Kerala, where you live, the state has seen a more than 200% rise in crime against women. Why specifically Kerala? Why not some of the other parts of the southern states? Or is it just that, as we talked to Kirti, the numbers that are actually reported?
See, there are two things. One, let me quote the world-famous, one of the liberal thinkers and Nobel Prize winners, Amartya Sen. Amartya Sen, when he wrote for the New York books, in India's Woman, The Mixed Truth, he pointed out that in more liberal nations like US and UK, 29 out of 1 lakh is the rape incident, and India is comparatively very less. Amartya Sen concedes that even if you multiply into 10 the number of reported cases, still you are less than half of what is happening in US or UK. So our culture is a very strong part. The changing cultural norms is a strong part. And please remember, the commodification, the objectification is very high. When we look at internet, see, erotica is one thing, but hardcore pornography is another. The child pornography, the rape tube, which is very much searched in India. See, these kind of ideas give a very perverted kind of idea regarding sexuality to the growing children. We don't have ethical education. When we right-wingers say about ethical education, all the liberals say that you are being conservative. But these kind of ethical sensitization, ethical education, curtailing child pornography, curtailing things like rape tube, these are the steps that are needed. And in a so-called very liberal and open society, when there is no value education, we are bound to have such kind of things. And please remember, we always believe in drawing Lakshmana Rekhas. Lakshmana Rekhas for both man and woman. And please remember, Lakshman drew a Rekha not for Sita but for Ravana. These are some Rekhas that we should draw so that our society survives in a very good way. And we need to have a mindset which cherishes ethical education and value education, family education, rather than a very liberal thought process which allows everything and at the end of the day start complaining back. So we need to have some kind of social responsibility, monitoring, capital punishment for the rapist, more CCTVs, fast track courts, better policing. So we have to have a holistic paradigm to look at it and not take 1 or 2 instances and exaggerate it to another form.
All right. Let's see if we can get in Hima Shankar, a well-known actress in Malayalam cinema. Hima, you were yourself the victim of harassment of a different kind. Can you talk to us a little bit about moral policing and at the hands of the police in Kerala? Talk to us a little bit about that to bring us that perspective.
Okay. 2 years before, I think it's in 2014, me and my friend was coming from his house. It's such 12 night, and we are surrounded by some of police men, and they want to check us, and they ask what is the relationship between us, and they find out we are friends. They called us like they need to check me whether I'm a prostitute or not, and they are not allowing us to go in a bike in the night to Trivandrum, from Kollam to Trivandrum, saying the safety issues and so many things. And actually, it was an incident for me. I'm a well-known person in Kerala on that time also. That time I showed my identity and so many things. They didn't allow me to go, and they retained me for at least 8 hours in police station. Then we recorded all those things and we make it a media issue. and it claimed that the mistake is from the police. It's 100% sure, and we accused the whole police system, and we made a change in Kerala.
All right, Hema and Rahul and Kirti, we'll come back to you guys in just a minute, but let's take a look at a quick look at how some of these stats of crimes against women happen in each of the southern states and how different or how similar they are to each other. Well, first of all, the national average of crimes against women is up to 2015 at least, about 56.3 per lakh population of Kerala. The average of crimes against women, 63 per lakh population. 910 cases of rape in the first 6 months of 2016, 7,909 total cases of offenses against women, including molestation, kidnapping, reported rape. A 210% escalation in crimes against women between 2005 and 2014. Tamil Nadu, the lowest crime rate against women in India. The average of crimes against women there, 18.4 per lakh population. In Telangana, the average of crimes against women per lakh population, 83.1. 143 women out of 100 experience some kind of marital violence. And the total sexual offenses against women completely going up in the southern states. So let's now go back to Hema. Hema, if you can talk to us about the movie industry. It's always been notorious for the casting couch, sexual harassment. Talk to us about, have you seen that? Have you encountered any kind of incidences like that during your time working with directors or other filmmakers?
See, personally speaking, I'm a different kind of a person. I never search for opportunities from my side. Whatever comes to me, that I take it and I do with my confidence. But normally what it happens, like people need some roles or something, they demand the producer or the production team or the director or whoever surrounded with this kind of power for the casting power, they use women. I know it personally, but not my side, because I never searched for it personally. I told you, no. So this is like I heard about from so many of my friends, like they need something, their body for the roles, and so many incidents like that. But in the movie industry, there is a choice for women for not going for these kind of things. We can choose whatever we have. Some people for money, some girls for money, or some girls for roles. They do that without any self-esteem. So, but some girls are there who really don't take these kind of things, and they go for only the straight things. So there is so many there is some mistakes with the women also, and also the utilizing parties, other parties still there, always there, and we can choose our part. That's what my opinion about this thing. And also in this movie industry is a very notorious industry that I can see, because this movie industry totally surrounded by men. Very few ladies are there, and these men's attitude is always a flesh kind of attitude towards women. And this is never changed, even though they are doing a female oriented movie also. They are, the same attitude is there.
All right, we'll check with you guys in just a minute. Let's now go back to get some perspective about how the stacks against crimes differ in the southern states of Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, and of course Karnataka.
Kerala. Average of crimes against women, 63 per lakh population. 910 cases of rape in the first 6 months of 2016. 7,909 total cases of offences against women, including molestation, kidnapping and rape. 210% escalation in crimes against women between 2005 and 2014. Tamil Nadu, the lowest crime rate against women in India. Average of crimes against women, 18.4 per lakh population. Telangana, average of crimes against women per lakh population, 83.1. 143 women out of 100 experienced marital violence. Total sexual offences against women in 2016 was 6,044. Andhra Pradesh. Nationwide, the maximum number of crimes against women between 2005 and 2015. 143 women out of 100 experienced marital violence by 2015. The total number of sexual offences against women were 8,049 in 2016. Karnataka. The total number of sexual assault cases in 2015 was 883, of which 94 were in Bengaluru. Bengaluru is the third least safe city in India. Total sexual harassment cases in 2016 all over the state, 756.
And before we go back to continuing our conversation with our panelists, let's now bring a perspective about the state of rural women. It is largely undocumented. So how do women feel in a southern bustling metropolis like the city of Bengaluru? It's a city that considers itself international, but is still home to scenes of terrible crime and molestation. Before we launch back into the discussion, let's now take a look at our correspondent, Nishchita Virendra, who explains why this is the case.
A popular South Indian actress who has starred in over 70 movies was waylaid and sexually assaulted, allegedly by her former driver and his accomplices in a busy area of Kochi in Kerala. That the South is relatively safer for women. The New Year's Eve molestation incidents in Bengaluru and the latest case from Kerala have garnered widespread attention, but several instances of sexual assault are being reported on a regular basis. Are South Indian cities becoming more unsafe? So are we seeing South Indian cities becoming more unsafe for women? Has so-called development led to women's safety taking a back seat?
Some of the places is still lacking. We still have to work on it. Like even women are walking down the lane, sometimes the guys come in, they ask for the numbers and all. Chain snatching happens a lot out here.
I've realized that it's the same everywhere. You know, it's the people change, and it's not that everybody in every city is on a mode, or vice versa.
Either traveling on a bike, they just molest you and go. So, or they use mobs as as protection in numbers. So there is no one face to a molester.
A lot of women are actually unsafe and they are actually in danger, because even if there are a lot of guys around, it still doesn't matter.
No matter how much security is provided for the people or for the women, it's like there's always some percentage of women who are always targeted, like they're always, at least some sort of criminal case will happen against them.
Where there is a definite spike in the number of cases being reported in South India, women say it is unfair to categorize a city or area as unsafe.
Do they agree with it? Hell, for the last I know is I'm an Indian. I'm allowed to be wherever I need to be. What culture are we talking about? Really, we have an Indian culture which is skewed towards women, all right? More so, because the men go unpunished. That is the only culture we have. And that culture, north, south, east, west, it exists in India.
As per 2015 National Crime Records Bureau data, India reported over 3 lakh cases of crimes against women, of which 34,000 were rape, in which Kerala accounted for 1,256 cases. In the latest incident too, it was not the victim but her friend who approached the police.
Very strong deterrent is what we need, not in South India, not in Bengaluru, not in Kochi, but the entire country, so that women can feel safe and not be restricted to certain geographies of this entire nation. In Bengaluru, with video journalist Padmanabh Rao, Nishchita, WION.
All right, let's now go back to our guest discussion to talk about this extreme form of violence that we're now seeing in the southern parts of India. Maybe not always, but let me bring back Rahul, with regards to this. To your mind, what are the reasons why the South, especially Kerala, was at one point considered safer, but until now, it doesn't look like that is the case? Why, and what is the reason why this is changing?
There are two things. One, see, this is not a time where we should have some kind of an anti-cultural narrative. Rather, this is a time to have a cultural narrative. positive. We are losing our culture. This is one of the reasons why there is increasing number of atrocities on women, and that's the reason why I earlier quoted Amartya Sen to prove that the more liberal, the more safe you are is a very wrong notion, and it is not scientifically or it is not supported by statistics. We need better value education, we need better culture, we need more CCTV cameras, and please remember, we need to have a system where we educate our children on this. We need premarital education to prevent more marital atrocities. We need family education so that people stay together. We need all these kind of social upbringing rather than saying that it is our culture that is making the whole problem. This anti-culture narrative will not take us anywhere. And please remember, patriarchy is not the issue here, it is perversion. Now, we can debate patriarchy on a different topic, but patriarchy or feminism is not the topic here. We are fighting perverts. These perverts has to be reined in, online perversion has to be reined in. These are the things that we should think. And right wing has always been vocal in requesting the government to bring something like an online digital supervision and surveillance mechanism, whereas child pornography is available very easily. And Archit might remember, in Bombay, one 3-year-old young girl was raped, and we have empirical evidence to show that this man was surfing child pornography 25 minutes before he committed that absolutely heinous crime. So please remember, we need to look at it scientifically, we need to look at it socially and culturally, and bring about a solution that will suit Indian context, rather than being ultra liberal and saying that this is all because of Indian culture. It is rather just the opposite. The more we lose our culture, the more we lose our social values and ethics, we are drifting down to such things, and the solution is having a scientific attitude, having a cultural attitude to all these.
So you're basically saying the internet certainly plays a role, and maybe possibly even stricter punishment that could have prevented some of these situations that are happening.
Stricter punishment for sure. That's the reason why all the right wing have always said, let us hang the rapist. And please remember, India is the only nation where such internet content of extreme perversion. See, erotica is different. I am again reiterating, but rape tubes, you know, ultimate form of extreme sexualities are easily available. So the guys who are 16-year-old, 17-year-old, what happened in Nirbhaya case? The most brutal guy was the 17-year-old guy. Where did he get these ideas from? Until 2 or 3 years earlier, he never even had an idea of sexuality in his mind. So within 3 years, he has changed into a rapist pervert. How did that happen? Didn't internet play a role? These kind of things we should check in. That doesn't mean we should curtail internet, but responsible freedom is what we should put forward. Liberty is great, but responsible liberty is a caution we should put forward. And even in advanced nations like US and UK, they are even having these kind of thought process in their mind, so that this ethics, family system, morality and values can be preserved, and ultra-liberalism or ultra-feminism is not the answer to these problems.
All right, thank you so much, Rahul. Let's now go back to Kirti. Tamil Nadu has all women police stations, and that has supposedly reduced or lowered the amount of crime happening in that state. So what do women perceive on the ground in Tamil Nadu? What have you heard with regards to that?
I'd like to start by saying that just because there's a less number on the table in terms of the number of incidents of sexual violence, it doesn't mean that we have fewer instances of sexual violence. I would like to speak to directly what Mr. Rahul just brought up, which is about how he mentioned that it was not patriarchy and feminism is not the issue here. I beg to differ, sir. This is fundamentally a case of assertion of masculinities and the masculine dominance over the woman form, and there's nothing more basic than that. That's fundamentally what it is. Perversion may be a manifestation, but it's fundamentally just the assertion of masculinity over femininity. Following with that, you also talked about education and moral values. I noticed that you didn't talk about sex education. I think we need to give our children sex education. It's because we keep things so covered and we keep things hidden that the real issues are not talked about. We talk about body parts with shame associated with them, and so we wind up keeping this culture of silence alive. And I would really like to ask you to clarify something I don't understand. You talk of Indian culture as a bit of a homogeneous element. What is Indian culture? Is it one homogeneous mass? Because I don't understand what that is, honestly.
If I can just clarify that, of course, Indian culture is one great structure which is having many branches and many leaves. Does that mean we don't have a same root? One tree can have many branches, but does that mean the tree is rootless? This great civilization which existed for the past 5,000 plus years, which is being celebrated all around the world, which has great manifestations in yoga, Ayurveda, spirituality, Indian heritage, which is celebrated by the world right now, has a great heritage. So that heritage has to be kept. And please remember, patriarchy, many a times what happens with the feminist viewpoint is that they confuse issues. Please remember, rape is primarily about sexual perversion. This is not the assertion of male power over female. It's the assertion of one's perversion over another person. A 30-year-old man is not exerting his power over a 3-year-old kid. It is his perversion, necrophilia. Even we have many incident reports in North and South where even dead bodies were not spared. 80-year-old women were spared. They were not exerting their power, and this is not Adler's inferiority complex. And this is a much more deeper issue of sexual perversion.
Let's go quickly over to Ahema. We have a couple of minutes left. Your thoughts regarding this as we sort of close up this discussion. What do you think at this point with regard to this change and how the southern part of India is dealing with this? Could this be because of perhaps migration, a different mindset from maybe people from the north are going to the south, or do you blame this on the internet, the movie industry, or the cinema? What do you think is one of the causes for this rise in the south when it comes to violence against women?
Okay, before answering that, I need to clarify one thing about culture. It's our culture before 100 years was just naked upper part of body. Okay, we are naked till the bottom of our body, and it was our culture in Kerala. So that the cultural thing is very important. If Rahul saying like it's not a culture issue, I don't think so. It's a culture issue too, because even our Mahabharata starts from the Draupadi. The molestation happens to her. Okay, so it happens from the decades. That's what I wanted to say. And in this film industry, in every industry or in every society, women should be more powerful. And in Kerala especially, I can say women are educated, but they are not powerful. And in Tamil Nadu, the women are more powerful, and I can feel it. They talk directly with the face of the men. And in Kerala,
right,
they talk directly to a man, their mother first tell them like, why you speak to that man directly? Don't do it. There is so many dons are there in Kerala, especially, and this thing doesn't relate to any education.
All right, thank you guys so much. Unfortunately, we are out of time, so unfortunately, we have to close out on the conversation, but certainly a very heated discussion with a lot of different viewpoints when it comes to dealing with what is happening in the southern part of India, the violence against women, why that change. All of this, of course, after a popular South Indian actress was allegedly molested and kidnapped over the weekend. Thank you to all of our guests for that discussion. When we come back on Gravitas, we continue this conversation, but we talk about the violence against women. Is it a global phenomenon? Stay with us right here on Gravitas.